All right, today we're going to conduct something of a forensic investigation. We're deconstructing a system that is so ruthlessly effective, it actually ranks as one of the most financially devastating consumer frauds in the world. We're talking about something that goes way beyond simple deception. It's really the weaponization of human connection. Okay, let's dive into this. And this right here, this is the central paradox, the core engine that drives this entire system. The more you feel, the more you pay. The promise of a perfect digitally delivered relationship becomes the direct path to total financial ruin. Think about that. Your greatest emotional asset, the very thing that makes you human, your ability to care, is systematically turned into your biggest financial liability. So, to really get how this works, we need a clear roadmap. We'll kick things off with the emotional paradox that fuels the whole scam. Then, we're going to survey the digital crime scene where it all happens. After that, we'll do a full forensic breakdown of the attack itself, look at the psychological leverage that makes it so powerful, and finally, build the mandatory defense system you need to stay protected. So, the big question is, how does a basic human need, the desire for companionship, get twisted and turned into a weapon? This section is all about this setup. It's about understanding the very foundation that this whole fraudulent structure is built on.
See, this whole system, it's not selling you a product, it's selling a fantasy, and it's an irresistible one. It targets one of the most fundamental human drivers we have, the need for validation and, that feeling of unconditional acceptance. The scammer isn't just pretending to be a partner, they are performing the role of the perfect partner. They listen, they remember every little detail, they shower you with affection, and in doing so, they create an emotional reality that is so compelling that the victim will later pay any price, literally any price, to protect it.
Every crime needs the right environment to really flourish. And for the long-distance emotional scam, well, our modern digital world provides the absolute perfect landscape. So let's take a closer look at the specific vulnerabilities of this environment. Okay, so what's so powerful here is how these three things come together to create a perfect storm. First, you have a baseline of profound loneliness, which basically creates the market demand. And we're not just talking about feeling lonely on a Saturday night. This is a deep-seated sense of being unseen, of being unheard. Second, digital anonymity gives them the perfect cover. A scammer can cook up a totally convincing identity with zero upfront cost and zero risk. And third, that deep need for validation makes a person uniquely receptive to an idealized fantasy, which causes them to just bypass all their normal, healthy skepticism. This is the fertile ground where the seeds of this fraud are sown. And when these vulnerabilities get exploited, the result is, well, it's staggering. We're talking over $1 billion, and that's just the reported losses annually, which means the true number is way, way higher. This isn't some niche crime, it is one of the highest loss consumer fraud categories out there. Every single dollar of that figure represents a moment where someone's hope was leveraged right against their bank account. The scale isn't just criminal, it's industrial. Okay, so we've seen the environment, now let's move to the attack itself. This is the operational playbook. It's a methodical, multi-stage process, and it's designed to build emotional dependency first, before ever pivoting to getting money. It's patient, and it is brutally precise. Phase 1 is all about one thing, building the fantasy. It starts with fabrication, creating a perfect aspirational identity. Think about the profiles they choose: a doctor working overseas, a soldier on a secret mission, an engineer on some remote oil rig. Why these? Well, they're respected jobs that come with a built-in excuse for why they're so unavailable, and they have this narrative of heroism. Next up is bonding, and this is done through love bombing, just an overwhelming 24/7 flood of affection and attention that fast-forwards intimacy. And finally, and this is so key, they introduce scarcity. The distance isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's the perfect built-in excuse for why they can't ever meet or get on a video chat. And then comes the hook. After a period of all this intense, overwhelming affection, the scammer declares their exclusive, undying love. This right here is the crucial moment. It's the point of emotional capture. By making the relationship official, the scammer creates this powerful psychological contract. It's not just a casual chat anymore, it's a committed partnership. The victim's emotional investment is now locked in, and it reframes everything that follows not as a choice, but as an obligation to a sacred commitment. Okay, let's get into phase 2, because this is where everything starts to build. This is the pivot from emotional grooming to financial positioning. It kicks off with isolation. The scammer insists on moving the chat to a private encrypted app like WhatsApp. Then they explicitly tell the victim not to tell their friends or family, using lines like, "This is our little secret," or "They just won't understand what we have, they'll be jealous." Next comes the loyalty test. When a friend or even a bank teller raises a red flag, the victim is conditioned to defend the scammer to prove their loyalty, which digs them in even deeper. And finally, once the victim is isolated and primed, the crisis is introduced. Some sudden, high-stakes emergency that only money can solve. And this is the exact point where the manipulation flips. It goes from passive to active. The victim isn't just a recipient of affection anymore. They are now commanded to become a guardian of the fantasy. By defending the scammer against any skepticism from friends or family, the victim isn't just protecting the scammer. They're actually reinforcing their own belief system. Each defense just deepens their psychological commitment to the lie. It's chilling, really. They've essentially been turned into a human shield for their own exploiter. And that isolation we talked about, well, that's the psychological choke point. By cutting the victim off from any external social proof, any friend, family member, or expert who could give them a reality check, the scammer makes sure that their version of reality is the only one the victim ever hears. The victim gets trapped inside this information bubble, a digital echo chamber built for one purpose: to enable and sustain the fraud. Without any outside perspective, the scammer's narrative becomes the absolute truth. So we've gone through the what and the how, but the really big question is why? Why is this system so devastatingly effective? Why do smart, totally capable people fall for it? The answer is in the exploitation of predictable psychological principles. The scam works because it literally hijacks the way our brains are wired to form relationships and make decisions. Well, the first key is something called parasocial bonding, and you've probably experienced a version of this yourself. It's that feeling you get when your favorite character on a TV show dies, and you feel a real sense of loss. You know they're not real, but the emotional connection is. Scammers create that same effect, but on a much more intense personal level. Through constant texting, declarations of love, they create a persona so vivid that the victim's brain starts treating this one-sided relationship as if it were real and reciprocal. The bond feels completely authentic, even though it's with a character that doesn't exist. All right, next up is cognitive dissonance. Just try to imagine the incredible mental stress of holding two completely opposite thoughts in your head at the same time. I'm a smart, rational person, and I might be sending my life savings to a criminal. That internal conflict is incredibly painful, so to resolve it, the brain looks for the easiest path. And admitting the entire relationship was a lie is psychologically catastrophic. So instead, the brain reframes the payment. It's not a loss, it's a heroic act of love. It's a test of loyalty. Paying the money actually becomes the action that silences the doubt and resolves that painful dissonance. And this all feeds perfectly into what's known as the sunk cost fallacy, but this version is supercharged with emotion. The victim has already invested weeks, maybe months of emotional energy, their hopes, their dreams for the future. Then they send that first payment. Now that financial cost gets added to the emotional one. Each payment after that makes it exponentially harder to walk away. Because to do so would be to admit that all of it, the time, the emotion, the hope, the money, was for nothing. It feels easier to just send more money to protect the initial investment than it does to accept a total loss.
Look, understanding the attack is absolutely critical, but it's not enough. We have to shift from just analyzing to actually applying what we know. This section is all about a strategic, evidence-based protocol for defense. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment through a clear, actionable plan.
The good news is this scam almost always follows a predictable timeline. Think of this as your early warning system. Week 1 is all about a naturally rapid intimacy. We're talking I love you within days. By week 2, that unbreakable scarcity is set in stone, a permanent dramatic excuse for not meeting. By week 3, any attempt to verify their identity is met with deflection, anger, or accusations that you don't trust them. And by week 4, or just after, that financial crisis conveniently appears. Recognizing this accelerated pattern is your first line of defense. So what's the most important takeaway? Your primary defense protocol is non-negotiable identity verification, period. Before you invest significant emotion, and certainly before you ever even think about investing money, you have to verify. Step 1, demand a live video chat. No excuses. If they can send a text, they can access a camera. If they refuse, the conversation is over. Step 2, take the photos they've sent you and run them through a reverse image search on Google or TinEye.
This will instantly show you if those photos were stolen from some innocent person's social media profile. This two-step protocol stops the scam before it can even start.
But what if you, or someone you know, is already in this situation? You feel uncertain, maybe even trapped. You need an exit strategy. This is the Decisive Disclosure Protocol. It is designed to break the single most powerful tool the scammer has: isolation. Identify one person you trust unconditionally, a friend, a sibling, a child. Reveal everything to them: the relationship, the promises, and especially any requests for money. The simple act of saying it all out loud to a trusted third party provides the external reality check you need to shatter the scammer's manufactured world and break the spell. Ultimately, the only real defense against a system that sells a digital fantasy is to anchor yourself hard in physical reality. This whole explainer really boils down to one powerful, protective mantra. It's the final takeaway, the tool you can carry with you always to protect yourself and the people you care about. Verify the face, verify the voice, verify the reality.